In this video, I do a full in-depth analysis of Hapebeast in terms of a reveal analysis and what I think is going to happen right now. So we're going to have a look at the dynamics during a reveal. I know lots of you have asked about that, and even more of you are asking for analysis on Hapebeast. So that's what I'm going to do today. And we're going to go, first of all, by looking through the art, and then we're going to kind of take it from there. But before I do that, a few other important updates I wanted to make. Number one, the price of Ethereum just touched $3,000 again today. Now, this is an important kind of resistance point. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a kind of pullback from it. This is kind of a big deal because we had the dip all the way down to the 2160 level. And in terms of a price appreciation, those of you involved in NFTs, I mean, the price of Ethereum has actually gone up 35%. Now, this is kind of important because some of the more blue chip type of NFTs, what you might find is pullbacks, as we've been seeing over the last kind of day or so, and maybe even a little bit more, just with that kind of adjustment. So potentially we could see that. Now, in terms of where Ethereum is going to go after, we'll see after the pullback. And I'm not 100% sure it's a full-fledged bull market about to begin, but there's a good chance. If you think of all the kind of Fed statements and stuff like that, I think we have longer to run with this. So we may get a massive move, especially in the altcoins, which I'm very much involved in. The other thing I wanted to do is say a massive thank you to everybody who watches me here on YouTube. I've been so busy the last few weeks that I don't even keep track sometimes of these kind of follower numbers and stuff, but we just ticked over 80,000. And as a thank you, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to do a giveaway, and this is just a cash giveaway. And what I'm going to do, just to make it a bit more fun, is at some point during this video, you'll see it pop up on the screen. I won't talk about it, but you'll see it pop up with instructions on how to enter. And if you enter that, one person will win a decent cash kind of giveaway. Again, as a thank you. So if you're not subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. But let's get on with the video. So Hapebeast, they revealed at 6 p.m. GMT time, so UTC time. And when I initially saw some of the artwork during reveal, I liked it, but it's not my cup of tea, but I understand why so many people are into it. And I think the main thing with this is you have to remember they spent a long time preparing for this project, and they spent a lot of time, and there's a lot of attention to detail. And I think that's why potentially it's going to do so well, and it's already been doing really well. Some of the artwork I wasn't sure about in terms of some of the traits. It's a little bit out there, but the main thing about this is it's distinctive. It's different from a lot of the other kind of ape derivative projects out there that you see. And although 3D stuff is popular, 3D rendering and stuff, and it's not massively difficult to do nowadays, and you see a lot of other collections doing it, they keep innovating. So they're going to start by doing, I think it's in the roadmap, full 3D videos of your particular NFT character, which I think is really cool. And if you actually have a look on OpenSea here, you can see even after reveal, they're holding a price of 5.8 when it comes to the actual floor price. What I'm going to show you now is a trade I took on this and some things that you could have looked at if you were trading Hapebeast during reveal. Now, let's just have a look a little bit closer at the artwork. What I try to do is, usually during reveal, you get one or two showing and then the rest of them haven't fully revealed yet because the metadata hasn't kind of cleared on OpenSea's side. But if you have a look at a couple of these, my initial thoughts were, I'm not sure about some of them in terms of style. But to be honest, I'm not the most fashionable person, so it's kind of fair enough. But what I like to do is I like to zoom in a lot and just have a look at the edges of the rendering to see if it's clean, to see if they've looked over these, if they've made any errors. Little things like that, I think, can sometimes make a very big difference. It can suddenly make a project look a little bit on the cheap side, like they've rushed it, or have they really double checked and gone through everything. And here, clearly, they did overall a very good job. I think there was one or two issues with one or two of the actual reveals, in terms of little mistakes they made with the caps and stuff, but generally I think it was very good, and obviously it's well received. I do all of my decisions and tradings based on the market reaction, not what I think personally, because honestly what I think doesn't really matter in terms of artwork. I'm not an art critic, I'm here to make money flipping NFTs, that's all I care about. So if you have a look at icy.tools or whichever charting software you want to use, if we go back a little bit, this is a very typical pattern. I've talked about it so many times on this channel, but for those of you that are new, it's very normal for price to dip before a reveal and going into reveal because people are nervous. They're nervous about their particular one. they want to lock in some profit, especially if they minted this or they bought it pre-reveal, because obviously there were some people who would have bought this a lot cheaper. If we go back, there were people who were buying this for, well, I mean, 7 was the same price, but there was people who were buying it cheaper. They bought the initial dip when it dipped to 4 or 5, or of course they mint it. Now, there are some people who are paying 9 over 9 for this, which is crazy because there's so much risk associated with that trade. You're assuming it might go to 11. However, at the same time, it might dip down to 6 or 5, which it did. Crazy. That's not good trading at all. But how should you trade this? Well, I still maintain that we should be really selling before a reveal. The spread of price is the reveal. You can see there 6 o'clock at the bottom. So here, the dip that started from 8 all the way down to 7. This is completely normal. It happens in pretty much every single collection. And if you sell beforehand, then you can lock in profits here. So if you were selling here. Now, what do you do during reveal? This is where it gets very, very interesting. And this is what I wanted to focus on this particular video, because so many of you ask me, what do I do during reveal? So I'll show you one of my trades. Now, for me, this was an annoying one because this is a bigger cap kind of collection where if you want to do a lot of flips here, you need to have 20, 25 ETH ready to buy 2 or 3. And I had to transfer some from my Coinbase account. But I don't know if you guys have been trading today, but Coinbase was having all kinds of issues because as soon as there's a slightest hint of a bull market, Coinbase suddenly crashes. So that was really annoying. So I could only really start trading well into the reveal. So kind of like an hour or so into the reveal. Which was a shame. But anyway, I still managed to get one trade. So this is the trade I did. I bought basically for 5.7 and then very soon after, kind of within 30 minutes or so, I sold it for 7.25. I locked in some profits and I'm moving on. Not the best trade I've ever done, reveal. And also I really should have done 2 or 3 trades, ideally on a good quality collection like this. But anyway, how does the reveal trading actually work? So when you actually first go into a reveal, what usually happens is you get a little bit of price tick up, a tiny bit, only because there's a supply shortage, because most people are waiting for their ones that they minted or they bought pre-reveal to show up so they can see which rarity they got, what type they got, before they make a decision about whether they want to sell even. So that's the first thing. So you get a little bit of a tick up, that's normal. But then you always get a dip. When people find out they don't have rares, the price dips down significantly. However, there's a lot of rare flipping going on. So you can flip rares here, you can buy rares for around 6 or 7 ETH and try and flip them for 10 or even 15 ETH. And a lot of people were doing that. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to flip any rares, which I'm annoyed about. However, I did do the floor trade. So you can see where floor kind of dipped down. But let me show you something else if I click on outliers. So when you click on outliers, I don't know if you can see it clearly there, but most of the action, let me just see if I can zoom into this chart. Most of the people who are going to pay big money, they are going to do that within the first kind of hour or so. So they might pay 50 ETH, 30 ETH, 20 ETH, etc. And then those big whales are done. They're going to move away from the collection. And then you're going to get less and less of these massive sales. Because the way volume works, you can see it very, very clearly here. At 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, the first couple of hours, that's where all the volume is in the collection. And that's where people are prepared to pay big, big money because they want to buy it, put it in a vault, lock it away for 6 months, which is fair enough. That's another way to trade. If you've got 200 ETH, go ahead and do that. But for most of you watching, that's not going to be the way to trade this. The way to trade it is to try and flip some rares to these people or to do a floor trade. So let's have a look at the floor one in more detail because that's the one I did. So let's go on to a 4-hourly chart so I can show you it a little bit more clearly. So it's a very simple trade, assuming the price is not completely tanking and people are not unbelievably upset about the reveal, like sometimes happens with stuff like Oxia Origin, which I talked about a few weeks ago. You can see here at this, I bought for 5.7. And even when I buy in this region, I don't really want to buy a non-rare. I want to buy something medium, like a top 2,000 or 3,000 if I can. And I did manage to. And probably I could have sold it for a bit more. But I don't like to hold on to things during reveal because I know the volume is going to get sucked out of the market and it's going to be that much harder to sell. So this is the trade. I call it a floor trade during reveal, where you buy here, wait for the price to peak, see if it's calming down, but all the while you're trying to sell yours. You're immediately putting it on for sale for 2 ETH more, and you're trying to get rid of it immediately. So this is a floor trade. Whereas if you're buying some of the rares cheaper and selling it for more, this is a flipping the rare trade in the same reveal. They're 2 different strategies, so you can't get them mixed up. You don't want to buy a medium rare one for 8 ETH when the floor's about 5.5. That's not a good way to trade this. And that's what I was doing. Now, what will happen after? Well, I'll tell you. Now, like I said before in my videos, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict what news is going to be about Hapebeast, what influencers are going to say about it, what the market reaction is going to be, what the volume is going to be like, any collabs. We can't predict any of that. However, I do know what mostly happens in collections. What mostly happens is now, because the volume is dying off here, as you can see immediately, we're only 4 hours after collection. The volume's already dying compared to what it was during reveal. Way, way lower. But you can see they did a lot of volume in the last 24 hours. Over 7,000 when it comes to ETH. Crazy amount of volume. But the volume will dip now and the price will slowly, generally drag down for usually a period of days. And there is a long-term trader, if you've got a massive wallet and account, there is a consideration whether you want to pick up one or even a few and hold for the longer term. But the problem with that is, if you're looking for a return on your investment, you could be waiting, weeks or months, and that's something that you have to consider. And maybe even not that long. If you look at something like CloneX or Azuki, it was a lot faster that they started to pump, only literally days or weeks after the reveal. But this is up there in terms of quality, and you have to speak about Hapebeast with the likes of CloneX and Azuki, not other ape derivative projects, because the fashion and the styling is so unique, and what they've got planned in the roadmap is really, really cool as well. Again, this is just my opinion, but this is how I'm looking at it. So I've sold mine now. So will I buy in again? Well, only if I keep an eye on this and, over the next few days, people start to paper hand and try to get rid of theirs as quickly as they can, and the price dips as much as possible. And you don't have to take my word for it. If you do your own analysis and you go through a few charts here, look at all the recent reveals we've had in the last couple of weeks. This is always the pattern, even in the better quality collections. Some of them don't dip a lot. Azuki, the floor trade for Azuki was from I think about 2 to about 3.8, and then it dipped down to 3.3. I know these numbers off by heart because I literally analyze charts all the time. This is what helps me become a better NFT trader. And then from then on, we started to get clear a pump in Azuki's price and a trend develop. Once a trend develops, you don't need to buy on the first pump. Wait for it to pull back. Never FOMO in. Never FOMO in. Wait for it to pull back and then see if you can be in profit. Once you're in profit, let it run as much as it can until it looks like it's topping out and the price starts to pull back. Then sell. Don't sell too early. So you're in profit anyway. You have nothing to lose. That's the way to trade these, because the thing is, when you're already in profit with these, you want to let it run a little bit, because literally that one trade could make up for many, many small losses you might be having, because I know the last 2-3 weeks has been tricky with so many dodgy collections coming up for mint and on the secondary market as well. Finally, I'm just going to put it on the highest last sale just for because I'm curious. So let me know below. I'm curious to see, what do you think about this artwork? I mean, I still, I'm still not sure about it personally, but like I said, it doesn't matter what I think. It is unique and it is different, which in NFT land nowadays is actually a really big deal. Thank you very much for listening.